December 3rd, 2020. From El Cajon, California, this is episode 222 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. My name is Mark Duvall, and sitting across from me is Dr. Mike.
Hello.
So, a couple of weeks ago, we were at Harrah's, Southern California, and it was not going too well, seems like we always start out poorly, even if we end up winning.
We always start out poorly.
But I got the dice, finally, and just had a huge roll. I don't think I made anything to the fire. I don't think I made points, but I rolled a lot of points and a lot of numbers. It was a nice long roll. Not only got us all the way back, but up quite a bit.
Yeah. It got us from devastation to a winning night.
Yeah, so that was nice. And it's always nice when you're the one shooting, you kind of feel like, you had some control over it. Well, my new thing these days is to wear T-shirts with TV show logos on them. And you've seen them, Mike. I have like a Munster shirt, and I wore like a How I Met Your Mother shirt. Well, this night I was wearing a shirt from a TV show called Just Shoot Me. It's a sitcom that started in the late 90s, and it took place in the office of a fashion magazine. And David Spade was in it, and George Segal, and it was moderately successful. It was a pretty funny show. So anyway, it says Just Shoot Me on the front, and in the middle of my roll, I said, "Oh, it should say Just Me Shoot." That is comedy gold, my friend.
Yes.
Hilarious.
Was it you that said it, or was it?
No, it was me.
One of the dealers.
No, it was me.
Okay. I didn't hear. I just all of a sudden they were all saying, "Just you shoot."
Yeah, just me shoot. Just me shoot. I will say this though, it's funny. Not a lot of people knew the show. Some people were, "Oh yeah, I think I remember that show." But our friends Dave and Julie came by that night.
Yes.
And I got such a kick out of it because Dave looked at the shirt. And he said, "Oh, yeah, that NBC show." And I'm thinking, wow, you know the network? Most people would, "Oh, yeah, I remember that David Spade." But, that NBC show.
Well, Dave affiliates everything with what network it was on.
Oh, okay, I understand now.
So even like news clips, "Oh, yeah, that was on CBS." He's a savant that way.
Well, I'll tell you, he's gone up quite a few pages in my book.
They were out there. We should mention Dave and Julie are out there because Julie got a bunch of free play for the month of December.
Yeah, our free play went up quite a bit.
Yeah.
So
they're taking advantage of it, going to Harrah's and getting free play. I hope that's working out because they go and they stay a couple days and they play that free play. If you end up losing 400 to get 100 free play, it's rough.
It is. Well, as we mentioned on the Better Life, on our Thanksgiving, what we're thankful for, free play has been fantastic for us this year.
Yes,
I mean, thank goodness we've gotten free play. It's saved us quite a bit. Well, anyway, while I'm rolling, you started tipping me. It was going that well.
Yes.
And it was kind of silly. You'd make a big deal of it and show the dealers, "Oh, look, I'm giving him another $5.
Yeah.
Or if you had any whites, "Here, I'm giving him $2 more."
Yeah, we kept a running tally of how much I was tipping you during your roll.
Right.
You'd make a number and I'd like, "Oh, here's $3 more."
So he got up to $222. And I said, "That's the number of our next episode." So you immediately stopped.
Yep, that was it. I stopped. Well, I was thinking room 222.
Oh, talk about an old TV show.
Yeah, I was thinking room 222, and I was going to make a thing about that. And then you said, "Oh, our next episode is 222. Okay.
That's a little better. Nobody at the table would have remembered room 222. Maybe Firevet Phil.
David would.
Yeah, maybe David. He'd say, "Oh, yeah, that ABC show."
Yeah, that was on ABC.
Well, thanks for the tip, Mike. Thank you very much. I definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, you should refund that, really.
I know, because at the end of the night, I thought, should I give him the tip back? Because you were a loser at the end of the night. Right? It was one of those nights where I won and you lost, and I'm thinking, that'd be an insult to give that back to you, Mike.
Keep your tip.
Well, then this last week, we went out to the casino, and it was terrible. I know we talk in hyperbole quite a bit, but really, this might have been the single coldest streak up to a certain point that we'll talk about. But just terrible. And certainly our bankroll reflected that.
Yes.
And I was even being a little more conservative and still was down quite a bit. And I know you were down a ton. And you finally got the dice. Why don't you tell everybody what happened?
Well, I rolled the fire bet. I rolled 6 to the fire.
6 to the fire.
I did repeat one number. I think it was a 6.
Oh, it was a 4. That was
it
the
was a
thing that
4?
was so amazing.
Was that the one I
That was the
repeated?
only one you
I don't
repeated
even
was a
remember.
4.
Oh, gosh, yeah, I thought it was a 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, I repeated one number, but made all 6 to the fire. So we won the fire bet,
Yeah.
which was nice because that got me very healthy.
Well, yeah, you won the fire bet. I didn't.
Yeah,
I did not
I
bet
won
it.
the fire bet.
Okay.
You didn't have
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
And we won the impressive progressive, which turns out it's not so impressive. So because there was a repeater,
Right.
you don't get like the grand.
Yeah, the wheel that shows up, the little sections on the wheel aren't quite as good as if you make all 6 points of the fire without repeating any of them.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's still some high payouts on there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you see them there.
Yeah.
Sure, there's the potential, but, you know,
Yeah, but you're not going to get it.
it's obviously not a completely random spin of a
And
wheel.
right before they spun that wheel, I turned to Mark and I said, well, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get the lowest amount. What's the lowest amount?
Yeah, what's the lowest amount
And they're
on
all
it?
looking on there. Oh, okay. The lowest amount was $2,250.
Right.
And I said, well, that's what I'm going to get then.
Uh-huh.
And sure enough, pit boss Mark spun the wheel. I'm blaming Mark for
And
that.
as you should.
Yeah, crappy push.
Yeah.
It was all in his push.
Yep.
Anyway, yeah, we won $2,250.
Right.
So I get $5,000 for the fire bet. But
$1,000 for one, right.
The impressive progressive pays $2,250. There were 4 people who bet it.
Right, who had bet the impressive progressive. So everybody's
There
going to
could
get
be
paid.
6. There could be a total of 6.
6
on
was
the
to be the
table.
most, but there were only 4 in
There
this
were only
case. Right.
4. And so then there was some issue about what we get. And at first they said, well, you get 1/4 of $2,225, which is like $563.
Right, because the big amounts,
Yeah.
if the wheel had landed on one of the mega jackpots
Well,
or
if
something.
the mega jackpot, which is $340,000,
Yeah.
then we would have split 4 of us $340,000.
Right.
Which would have been nice. However, we got that and we got $563. Not impressive. At all.
No.
Not when I just won $5,000 on the fire bet. And when I 7'd out, I had more than $600 on the line.
Yeah.
On the line.
Right.
Okay, not the table. The table was about 4,000. I had about 600 on the line. And I'm thinking, what? I win less than I'm bet on the line? Not impressive.
Well, and the thing is, after they said, okay, it's going to be split 4 ways. And then one of the pit bosses, maybe about 10 minutes later, said, oh, I've got good news. Everybody is going to get $2,250. You're not
Right.
going to split it. Everybody's going to get it. And so we're thinking, okay, well,
All
at least
right.
that's
well,
something.
that's better,
Yeah.
right? And then a few minutes later, another pit boss comes around and, oh no, he shouldn't have said that. He actually, what he told me is there's a problem with gaming.
All
He
right.
said, so it's going to be 563. And then I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, what can you do,
At
right?
this
They don't-
point, I'm over it,
Yeah,
right? I'm
right.
like, oh, whatever. Then a little while later, they came back. Oh, good news again. Yeah, that one of the bosses decided just pay him $2,225.
So they obviously don't have all of this ironed out.
Yeah.
I mean, where they're initially saying one thing and then they go back and forth and back and forth. Yeah, it was
So
pretty
it turned
laughable.
out 2,250.
So you did get
I said,
2,250. So
Yeah.
that's good. That's
Right.
good. Well, good job rolling the fire. You rolled that quick. Even though you
Oh, yeah.
repeated the 4, you were pretty much only rolling points.
Yeah, I rolled a lot of just quick points.
And the last number you needed was a 9.
Right.
And you came out on a 9 and you rolled the dice a couple of times. Then you turned to me and said, oh, gosh, should I lay against the 9?
Right.
And I said, gosh, Mike, I wasn't even going to bring it up because I didn't want to. And then you asked, well, should I? And I said, no. Don't lay the 9.
Yeah.
And nobody was laying the 9. I don't know
No.
if you noticed.
Yeah,
Nobody laid the 9. They were so confident in you.
Yeah, and then I just said, okay, well, here's the 9. I
Yeah,
rolled
very-
it, and then
yeah,
boom, it was
maybe
a
the
9.
next roll or 2 rolls later.
It was
Yeah.
like, here
Yep.
was a 9.
Yeah, that was a good one. Well, congratulations on, what is that, 4 or 5 now total fire bets, 6-point fire bets? Is that
Yeah.
the 4th? I think it's the 4th.
fourth,
maybe.
yeah.
So congratulations on that. And that's what we were talking about, how cold it was. It really helped.
Yeah, it really helped.
And just rolling those points, even though I wasn't on the fire, that really helped me too.
You know what was funny is that ever since they've had this impressive progressive, it seems like there's been a lot of 6-point fire bets.
It does, doesn't it?
There's been like 4 or 5 of them in the last 2 weeks.
Everybody keeps talking about them. And not just that, but non-repeating fire bets too. A lot of people have said, oh yeah, they got another 6-point, no repeaters.
Yeah, it's weird.
Well, the casino's hating that.
Yeah,
they're regretting that. That's why
they're not regretting it, Mark. That's why I got $2,200.
That's right. They programmed it. This is getting ridiculous, guys. Reset the wheel.
I should have got the first one where it's some major jackpot.
Hey, nice. And then they figured out what was going on. Well, at Harris Southern California, between shooters, they sanitize the dice. Basically, one of the dealers takes the dice from the previous shooter, puts them in a towel, and sprays a bunch of disinfectant on them.
Right.
And as a result, when the dice are changed and the new shooter picks up the dice, a lot of times there's some of that residue of that disinfectant. So tell them what happened to you.
Well, the dice stick together. And the reason is because they spray them and they just let them sit there.
Yeah, they don't
wipe them or anything. You just let them sit there. And so the disinfectant that's between the 2 dice acts kind of like an adhesive in a way.
Yeah.
And sometimes you'll pick them up and there'll be like 4 dice stuck together, right?
Yeah.
So he slides me the dice and I pick them up and the 2 I picked up were stuck together.
Okay. And you didn't really realize it when you picked them up, did you?
I kind of saw they were stuck together, but I thought, this is stupid.
Yeah,
I hate that. So I just threw them real hard, actually.
Yeah.
So they bounced off the back wall. Yeah. And I assumed, that they would bounce off the back wall, separate, right? No, they stayed together. And it just landed. It just hit the back wall and blop. These 2 dice stuck together.
Yeah.
Well, it came up, it was a 10.
Right. And this was the come out roll, obviously.
Right. And somebody was saying, oh, is that really a roll? Was that really a roll?
Yeah.
And anyway, the pit came over, and I think it was Mark.
It was.
And he said, yeah.
He said, did it hit the back wall? I mean, it hit the back wall and came back?
Yeah. They said, yeah, it hit the back wall. He said, well, then it's a roll, and it's a 10. Nobody's hurt with a 10, really, right?
Well, you don't want 10 as your point.
Yeah, but you could get a 10 or a 4 as a point.
Well, I understand, but
it's not like somebody lost. It's not like somebody lost a bet.
Yeah.
At that point, I don't remember if I made the 10 or not.
No, it was a very quick 7 out after that. Yes,
okay.
yes. But regardless of whether a 10 is good or not, I think that's a terrible call.
You think
say,
so?
Oh yeah, because they don't separate. If they don't separate, there are only certain rolls that you're going to get out of it.
Well, there's probably
there's
what?
Because you can only
four
spin
rolls?
It. Right? There's only 4 different rolls you're going to get. Right?
Rolls, right? Yeah, I should have looked because maybe it couldn't have been a 7. Which is what I want them to come out, or an 11, right? Maybe that one of the 4 rolls wasn't a 7.
Next time, set them up so it's a 7, no matter what you do, and kind of rub them together to make sure they're going to stick.
Maybe I'll just put some super glue in between 2 of them, and just every time. I don't know why they're not coming apart.
It hit the back wall. You saw it hit the back wall. Go ahead and call it.
It's a roll. I'll be like Data. I'll be except I use super
Another
glue.
7. Can't figure this one out. It's the disinfected. We're going on precedent, right? Mark actually said it was a roll, so
they're trying to get them apart. They can't. Finally, it just the die actually breaks. Right? One of the 2 die breaks in half.
New dice. Oh well. Good roll, Dr. Mike. Hey, I want to talk about face-up pie gow poker for a moment. We've talked about this before, face-up pie gow poker, like regular pie gow poker, except the dealer sets their hand before you have to set your hand. So you can see what they're going to play, and then maybe you play your hand differently than you would if you were playing regular pie gow poker. You make some moves that are maybe kind of strange, but it's an effort
might get you to push.
Yeah, win instead of push instead of lose, that kind of thing.
Right.
And I said that I really liked it, and a lot of people don't like it. And I can certainly understand people who don't like it. I don't think you like it, right?
I don't really like it. It just takes away a little bit of the surprise. Sure. I like the surprise when the dealer unveils their hand and you're like, oh, did I beat him or not?
Yeah, right. And I certainly understand that. And I thought I was going to be that way. But the first few times I played it, I thought, wow, I really like this. And I was trying to figure out, okay, why do I like this? And why do some people like it? I know why I like it. I figured out why I like it.
All right.
Because I like being right. I like having made the correct decision. So in regular pie gow,
Well, you're not really right when you set your hand wrong in order to get a push.
I know.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is, in regular pie gow poker, oh man, if I had gone a different way, it would have helped. But
Well, no, wait a minute. Because you always correct me when I say, oh, I should have done this, or I should have bet that. And you always bring up the point like, well, that you wouldn't have done that because that wasn't the way to do it beforehand.
Right.
So in pie gow poker, I mean, you wouldn't have set your hand bad.
Well, okay, yeah, you're right. You could argue there's a right way and a wrong way to set a pie gow hand in regular pie gow poker.
And you always set them the right way. So
well, I try
always
to,
right anyway, right?
Okay.
Am I right?
Hey, I'm trying to figure out why I like face-up pie gow poker, all right?
I think you got
That's
it
all
wrong.
I'm trying to do. All right, so whatever the reason, fine.
All right.
Okay, but I like it.
In your head, you've got it figured out.
Okay, fine. I'm good with that. If you're good with it, I'm good with it.
I am good with
all right,
that.
good. However, now at Harrah's Southern California, since COVID, they're only offering face-up pie gow poker at all their pie gow poker games.
Right.
And not only are the dealer's cards face-up, but everybody's cards are dealt face-up. Right? I mean, which it doesn't really change the game because obviously, people are going to set the hand. But this new way, I just don't like it.
You
right?
don't like that?
No, I don't like now that it's like, okay. Because really, you make your bet, and that's it. You don't even touch the cards.
Right.
The dealer looks at your cards.
And figures out
the best way, right?
Yeah.
So,
I don't mind that. What I don't like is the fact that they spray the cards down, and then they're just all stuck together in one gelatinous gloop, right? And you're like, I can't read any of these because they're all smeared with all the disinfectant and stuff. That's the part I don't like.
Yeah, seat 5 has 13 cards. Is that okay? Well, did it come out of the automatic shuffler? Yeah. All right, then it's a good hand. You got a straight flush, a pair of aces.
All night long, you're sitting there for 5 hours. You played like 3 hands because the automatic shuffler keeps breaking down. Cards are just stuck in there everywhere. Same with the roulette wheel. God, it's been a half hour. When are they going to roll that ball? As soon as they get it unstuck. It's stuck in 12.
12. It's 12. Pay 12. Well, okay. Have I made my point, I guess? I don't know. We kind of went off the rails. But anyway, this new way where you don't touch the cards, they're all dealt face up. Yeah. All you do is make a bet and you get paid, whether, just based on what happened. I don't care for it as much.
Yeah. I'm going to make a big stink about it when we go this weekend.
Okay. What are you going to say?
I'm just going to talk about it all night to the pit. Like, I can't believe you do that. Mark doesn't like it.
Okay. On my behalf.
Yeah, on your behalf. Mark doesn't like it. Let's change that.
Well, I have to say, Dr. Mike, all you guys ever do is play crap. So I'm not sure why you're even bringing this up. You put your foot down. That has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what we play. It bothers me.
That's right. All night long. Look at Mark. He's transfixed on the face-up pie gow poker table.
Right.
He can't take his eyes off it. He's so upset.
He's fuming.
That's right. Now, if I'd say something, I don't have enough clout, but maybe if you say something.
If I say something, they'll change that.
Yeah, Dr. Mike says that Mark is real upset about the face-up pie gow poker situation, so maybe we could take a look at that.
All of a sudden, they just eliminate the table. There's no pie gow at all. Sorry.
All right. We got an email from listener Eamon, and he gave us some suggestions on modifications that we could make to a craps game to see if we would like that or not, if we would go for that, if that's something that we would enjoy implementing. Like maybe if we had a casino, is this something that maybe we would do to our craps games?
So Eamon thought it would be a good idea to come up with some ideas to change the game we love into something else.
Well, it doesn't really change it. Just a few things here. Let's go through the list because he gave us a really good list, and let's start talking about this, all right? What about having a black felt?
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe black lights too in the
Oh yeah, like a black light, and there all the numbers and everything reflect real. Yeah, it's kind of hard on your eyes.
Yeah, kind of hard on your eyes. You can't order a drink because you can't see anymore.
When you take your eyes off the table, where am I? I remember when Hard Rock opened in Las Vegas. The first time we went, I think they had like bright purple or something like that.
Yeah, they had real bright purple.
Oh, wow, look. Yeah. Can we handle it? Because in those days, it was green or nothing, right?
Right. There wasn't even red or anything.
No, nothing like that.
Or that that tan color.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not
yeah.
big on that tan color.
No.
I don't like that tan.
Yeah. I guess I like traditional green. Black might be
purple's
interesting.
kinda
Purple
nice.
is nice. Yeah, I do like
black.
purple.
I wouldn't mind black.
All right, how about this? Higher rails or a lower basin to minimize dice going off the table.
Yeah, I'm okay for that, but people come in all sizes and shapes.
That's the problem, especially dealers. We've got a lot of dealers who,
we have
some of the shorter ones have trouble even
right.
getting to the pass line right now,
A lot of women who are shorter can't reach the pass line, and they a lot of times ask another dealer, "Can you reach that?"
Right. So I guess that'd be a reason not to, is
that'd be a
because
little
unless
hard.
you could account for that as well
keep the
too.
dealer side lower, I guess. And
Oh,
then
that's true. You keep the dealers. Yeah, maybe.
But
That's
then
true.
players, someone like my dad, right?
Yeah.
He'd have a hard time. Even in like Vegas, where they traditionally stand, he usually sits down.
Yeah,
because,
that's true. If it were higher rails, he'd have trouble. Like maybe he wanted to bet on the field or something, right?
He would have a hard time reaching it. Yeah.
So no, I guess not. The dice going off the table, that's part of the game.
You know what higher rails reminds me of? It reminds me of when our friend Paul thought it would be a good idea if baseball installed like a 10-foot wall right behind the pitcher's mound.
Oh, yeah.
Blocking second base. So you couldn't throw anyone out trying to steal second.
Right.
And balls hit right up the middle would just bounce back.
Yeah.
That was his idea.
He had
too.
a lot of great ideas for innovating baseball. He wanted to have trenches going around the baseline so that, when you hit a ball into play, you went down into this trench and there was just trenches all the way around. And in order to see the runners would have flags on top of their caps that stuck up so you could actually see them running through the trenches.
Yeah, and he does not use drugs. Which is funny because who comes up with these ideas?
Paul's got great ideas, not just about baseball, but life.
Life in general, yeah.
All right, how about this one? No buy-ins when a point is established.
Oh, I'm for that.
Yeah.
I'm for that.
I don't think if we were running the casino, I can't see a casino doing that because they want money, as it comes onto the table.
They don't want to negate anybody buying in, right?
Yeah.
And it'd be hard. What if somebody, put all their money out there and then they had a come bet, let's say, and 2 came up. They lost their come bet and they want to make another come bet.
Oh, that's true. Like they ran out of money and they would need to rebuy in the middle. Yeah. Yeah, that would be rough.
You couldn't tell those people, oh, no rebuy. You got to wait for the come out.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the guy rolls like 80 numbers and you can't get on any of them.
Even though we don't ever buy in the middle of a roll, or excuse me, unless it's a come out roll, basically, we don't buy in. Yeah, I don't know, making it a rule.
The problem is it's hard to control etiquette.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. And there's no, if you make it a rule, it's a rule. But, yeah. All right, what about this? Only buy in with $100 bills.
Well, in today's world, I'd be for that.
No. Yeah, somebody wants to play at a $5 table. I'm not buying in for $40.
Do you remember the other night, now that I think about it, maybe you weren't there. Might have been a night when I was by myself. A woman came up. She's a fairly regular player, and she threw down a wad of money, and she's a pretty big gambler, and I thought, she's buying in for $5,000, right? No, it was about $1,500, but it was all 20s.
Oh, yeah.
And it took them a while to count that out because they can only count 5 stacks.
A certain number of bills, right? It doesn't matter how much. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I don't like the flat idea of you can only buy in with hundreds, but maybe there's a rule where if you're buying in for 500 or more, it has to be all hundreds. What about that? Or something?
Right. There you go. Yeah. Depending on the amount, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So if some guy's going to buy in for 5,000, he can't have 20s.
Okay. Right.
Or 50s. Really pisses me off when they're 50s, Mark.
Well, nobody likes 50s, Mike.
Oh, God. But you see people, I don't know where they get these 50s.
There's, it's funny. One of our poker home game regulars would go to the ATM before he would come over, and for whatever reason, this ATM always gave him 50s.
Really?
Isn't that strange?
Yeah, that's very strange.
He didn't even have a choice.
Are you sure it wasn't a strip joint?
I'm not sure, no. Yeah. But why would a strip joint give out 50s, Mike?
I don't know. Why would they give out $2 bills?
Okay, I guess that's true, too.
I guess to get bigger tips.
Bigger tips. Bigger tips. All right, what about this one? 12-foot table, 4 people per side.
Yeah, I could see it in certain casinos, especially smaller casinos.
Yeah.
In a bigger casino like Bellagio, no, 12 people,
Yeah.
6 on a side, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Or even more, right? 16. You can have 8 on a side.
Yeah. All right. A reformatted felt so that you could book prop bets on each end. So in other words, the stick wouldn't have to book the prop bets. You'd have hardways and C&Es and everything at each end of the table, right? So they could be booked on that side without having
the dealer would have to book them, though.
And I think the dealer would still have to book them,
Yeah,
right? Because otherwise there's too many people.
It'd be arguing over who had what and stuff.
But what do you think about that? I don't know. Would it make that much of a difference, or how important would that be?
Yeah, See, as far as making a difference, that depends on how good a stick man you got.
Yeah.
Some of them, it's boom, boom, boom. They're fine. Others are, a little confused and payouts and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'd say that no. I'd say no to that one. It would just it cluttered the table a little too much, right? To have everything twice on the table.
Yeah, imagine somebody shooting if it wasn't right in the middle, if it was on the ends.
You're right.
It get hit by the dice a lot more, right?
Yeah, that's true. All right. If you had to pick one bonus bet, what would it be? All tall, small, fire bet, or anything? Repeater.
Boy, that's a rough question. I think the intelligent thing to say would be fire bet, just because you make it once and you don't have to deal with it.
What about the sharpshooter instead of fire, right? Because that pays even if they're not unique points, right?
Right. Yeah, sharpshooter I like.
Okay.
I mean, if it's just me, for no particular reason, I like all tall, all small.
Okay.
Because, I just like it when it hits. And I like when you've got like 4 of the numbers and you're waiting for the 5th number to come up or something.
Yeah, there's that anticipation. It comes up way more often than a fire bet. So,
way more.
Yeah. Okay. What do you think about this? $5 minimum even on prop bets. So in other words, if you were even at a $5 table, the prop bets have to be at least $5. Hardways and C&Es, things like that.
Yeah, I like that, but that makes a world 25.
I don't like that because I think people like to throw in those bets with just extra change that they have, and it's just $1, it's just $2.
Well, so. if you're at a 25 or higher table, I understand the $5.
Yeah.
At the lower limit tables, I think like a $10 or a $15 table, the casino wants dollar prop bets because, like you said, they get a lot of people just like, I got some change here, it's $3. I'll take a hard 10.
It might even prevent people from making the bet. If I've got to bet $5, I don't want to do that.
Right.
Maybe depends on again the limit and the bankrolls around the table. If you're playing at
a $25 table, you're probably not worried about the $5 bet.
Sure.
If you're playing at a $10 table, you might not make that bet, and that cuts into the casino's action.
Yeah. All right, what about this? Cup holders at chip level. I kind of like that idea, but
I like it, but then I think, oh God, wait till somebody spills.
There's going to be way more
on
spills
the table, and then we've got a 15-minute cleanup period.
Yeah, and it's not so much, I'm taking a drink I spilled. It's putting it back in the cup holder, right? And they miss it, and then it goes spilling, right?
Exactly.
So, because think of how many times even we have spilled drinks underneath the table, right? They're you're not paying attention to the way you put it down.
Every week.
Yeah.
The longest delay on a craps table I ever saw was when somebody dropped their cigar.
On the table?
On the table. And ashes went everywhere.
Yeah.
And it took them a while to clean that up.
Really?
It was in Vegas, and I can't remember what casino, but they didn't have one of those little vacs handy.
They had to wait for it?
Well, somebody had to go get one, and there was a delay, and then they had to vacuum up all the stuff and everything. And I was just thinking, oh my God. I've seen quicker cleanups on when somebody spills a drink.
Yeah.
And because the guy just throws down a towel and blots it.
Right. Even though there's a stain maybe there, right?
There's a stain. It's still wet, but it's not a puddle.
That's interesting. I'm glad you brought that up. So that's the longest delay you've ever had.
I've ever had.
Not counting, paying out a fire bet or something like that. Yeah.
Or fight. I mean, there was that one time where the people were fighting.
Right. When we were at resorts in Atlantic City, remember that was that guy that was probably on something.
Right.
And they had to stop the game till they, got him out of the casino.
That was a long delay.
That was too, yeah.
It was understandable, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, how about this? 30 seconds to make your bets between rolls.
Nope.
Yeah, I didn't No, I don't like that either. Even though I make my bets pretty quickly, I don't think that's a good idea at a regular craps table.
Well, a casino wouldn't like that because you're limiting, like me.
For sure. Things, right? And for you. Yeah. Oh my God, I'm sitting there looking at my watch while you're explaining everything that the dealer needs to do for you in the center there. All right, how about this? A digital roll counter counting number of rolls for the given shooter and number frequency. And Eamon said, I would love this for all who claim 45 plus minute rolls.
Right. Yeah, I would love that too.
Oh, yeah. And some places kind of do have it, like roll to win and shoot to win. They kind of keep
Right.
track of those things. And I believe at the Fremont in Las Vegas, they do have a counter. The pit or the boxman or somebody actually enters the rolls in. But yeah, I'd like to see that. I think it'd be interesting.
I'd like a big thing like the display at the roulette wheel.
Yeah, right. Like that thing,
has
right?
It all listed,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, it'd be kind of fun.
It would be fun.
And it would be good because, I'm right there with you, Eamon, and you walk up to me, that guy rolled for 40 minutes. And I'm like, well, nobody even has a green chip.
Yeah, it might have been 12, maybe 15.
Yeah. And there was probably some, like slow betting in between.
If it didn't have to be kind of a manually entered thing, which, right now would have to be unless you actually put something in the dice. And even then, you'd think the casinos would want it because it would attract superstitious people.
Right.
Like, oh my gosh, look how long it's been since he's rolled a hard 8. It's
Right.
due, or, whatever.
Well, out at Harris Rincon, then the
in the stadium gaming,
gambling, they have that thing, and you look up. You and I will look. Oh my God! It's been 53 rolls since somebody rolled a hard 10, and we're like,
wow! I'll keep looking. All right, back to our table.
Right.
And then finally, a ticket number or a reservation system. So you don't have to wait around the table or kind of hover waiting for a spot. What do you think of that?
I'm all for
Yeah,
that. Well, in COVID era, and if
that's the thing, especially these days.
Yeah, and if this continues for a while, like another year of this or something, then yeah, it'd be nice to have a
if you could
list.
come up with some kind of system that was simple, quick.
Right.
Maybe you get a text on your cell phone or,
No, Mark. There's just a thing at the end of some counter where you pull a number and then there's some elderly lady. I mean, like 88-year-old lady sitting there at the microphone. Craps, number 43.
Yeah.
Number 43. That's
Okay.
what I'd like to see.
All right. I'll go for that, Mike. All right. Is there anything else you can think of? Any other thing? I mean, does anything spark your imagination talking about those things, kind of things that you'd like to see at the table that you don't already see?
You know what I don't understand is you'll see in a lot of pits, like a blackjack pit or a pit that has, blackjack type games. You'll see dancers like at
like at the D
Golden
or
Gate.
at Golden Gate, and sometimes at Flamingo. Yeah.
Right, sometimes at Flamingo. You've never seen them in a craps pit.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good.
I mean, you got 4 craps tables in a little pit. Why not just some little thing in the middle there?
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess they don't want people distracted.
Well, no, I don't know. It's just craps is such a different game. I mean, when it's just a single dealer like at a blackjack table, and they're kind of, I don't know, they're flirting with the guests, or there's kind of that.
Well, or you
thing.
folded your hand and other people are playing yours. You have time to look at the
and with craps,
dancer.
there's something always going on, and I guess craps doesn't lend itself to foxy dealers.
Boy, Mark, you are getting old.
Excuse me?
You've just talked yourself out of having some like young go-go dancer above the craps table. You're getting old, my friend.
All right. So, in other words, we don't have any other ideas.
No.
Is that true?
No other ideas.
All right. Very good. Well, thanks, Eamon, for sending that email in. Hey, thanks to everyone who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, whenever you're going to buy something through Amazon, please go to our page first, youcanbetonthat.com, and click through our Amazon link towards the top of the page. All right, let's move on to some voicemails. First up is our friend Melanie.
Hello, Mark. Hello, Dr. Mike. This is Melanie from beautiful Colorado with a little trip report. Snowy here. It's beautiful. I'm just thankful that Colorado has a gambling option. Unfortunately, I missed the table games. The table games here in Colorado, they reopened on September 8th with the usual plexiglass distancing, that kind of thing. I got 2 sessions of $5 blackjack up at Central City while watching football, which was awesome. 3-2 full pay. However, all of that has been shut down. It's much easier for the casinos here in Colorado to get shut down and have to not offer table games than it is for them to apply again for a variance and be able to resume. I did not get to play craps. I missed my window, a 2-month window. They just closed down again November 16th. In any case, went down last night. It's a Tuesday night before Thanksgiving. Wanted to avoid any Thanksgiving Day crowds. And sure enough, there was no one within 6 feet of me, much less 20 feet. and I had a really relaxing, wonderful time. Even though there weren't table games, it was still fun. I played, it's a shoot to win craps game, except it's not shoot to win. It doesn't have push the button. It just goes on its own. There's a $50 max, not $50 per bet, but $50 max. And we had 2 huge monster rolls. So that $50 max, we got up against it pretty quick as the numbers kept hitting and we wanted to keep pressing. We have a $3 come bet and take full odds, which is 2 times odds. That fills up pretty quick. It's almost like a salary cap. You had to be strategic about where you'd put your $50. But my question to you, Mark, is did this $50 cap save me money because I would have had more money out because I was pressing my bets when the 7th finally did come? Or do you think it cost me money? In any case, I bought in for $80. I cashed out $240. I was pretty much maxed out on that $50 max the whole time because the 2 rolls I was there for just were monsters. There's not a lot of time between each roll. There was a guy across from me, across the whole table. He was playing on 2 consoles. The consoles that are next to each other are turned off, so it was every other. So he had to run from one to the other to try and get his bets down. And it was pretty fun to watch, and I was like, what is he doing? And then I realized he is trying to get more money down because of that $50 maximum. So anyway, cashed out my $240, took it over to a little video poker machine, and boom, dealt 4 aces on double bonus. And wouldn't you know it, drew that number 3 for the kicker. $520, I think, because it was a progressive. So yeah, ended up for the night about $300. And I did check out Colorado's only sports book. There wasn't anything really happening. It's kind of reminded me of, if you've ever been to the D in Las Vegas, that old sports book up there, where they just have some TVs and some folding chairs, basically. All right, it's not quite that bad. The screens were pretty big, but they weren't Las Vegas big. They weren't Circa big by any stretch. The surround sound was quite good. You know, Colorado just hasn't really caught on to the sports betting. We have awesome sports betting options online. However, they haven't really caught on to the thought of get good sound, get high quality screens, get comfortable chairs and charge money for it. And people will absolutely pay for it. But this, like I said, this is the only proper sports book. It was pretty cool though, because they have all the odds like the normal sports book, you know, up on the wall and a big screen for Blackhawk. This is at the Saratoga Casino. So the Grand Z Casino, I stayed there overnight. I really prefer Central City. It's the smaller mom and pop, even almost downtown version of Colorado's gaming, like downtown Las Vegas a little bit, but not grungy and no smoke. One interesting thing, the bartender at Bonanza, where I really love to play video poker, he told me that Bob Dylan played his first gig down the way at a little theater just a few doors down, and it's in the liner notes of his first album. Kind of a cool little tidbit. I will talk to you guys soon. Keep up the great show. And again, congratulations to Dr. Mike's dad on his 94th birthday. That was so fun to watch. And Dr. Mike, I am so curious to hear if you ended up going to Las Vegas to get your Apple Watches for your daughters and a new iPhone for yourself.
Well, as far as a great gift wrap-up goes, Melanie, still in the air on that.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a last-minute call if I go or not.
Yeah.
So it kind of depends. The virus cases are going up.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to fly. And I mean, I'd have to fly. If I go, it's going to be for a day.
Okay.
So
all right.
it's going to be flying in the morning and fly out the next morning.
Okay. Yeah.
So, I'll stay overnight. Yeah, there's a lot of hassles to it too now. Because the restaurants, you have to have reservations to eat.
Oh, yeah. You looked into it, right? But
Yeah.
some of it might have to be because it's the great gift wrap-up, and it's just they're expecting a lot of people. And plus, you can't get as many people into the restaurant.
Right.
So,
you can't get as many people. So you got to have a reservation. I mean, I'd hate to go and not have a reservation and not be able to eat.
Yeah.
That would be rough for me, Mark.
Like you need to eat in Vegas. We've talked about this many times. You don't need to eat.
You don't really need to eat. I mean, they got all the next day to eat when I come home.
All right. Well, by the next episode, you will have said whether or not you went and got the Apple Watches and the iPhone and everything.
Right.
So,
We'll know by then.
yeah. All right. And then, Melanie, as far as, okay, there was that $50 maximum at the craps machine. Well, okay, in the long run, it's going to save you money. But based on your story, it sounds like it hurts you. It hurts you, yeah.
Based on those 2 rolls, it hurt.
That's all I can say.
You could have pressed higher and won a little more.
It's a boring answer. In the long run, it helps you. But in that particular case, sounds like it hurts you.
We should mention, Mark, those Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
Speaking of Colorado, playing an entire football game without a quarterback.
Uh-huh.
That's nice.
That was nice. And,
like that.
it's funny. The line moved quite a bit, of course, but you still bet against them. What was it, like 15.5 points, something like that?
I bet against them, and I bet the under, and both won.
Yeah, both
right?
won. Yeah, good.
The under was close, though, because it was 31-3.
And the under was 36?
Under was 36.
Oh, okay,
so he squeaked that out, and then Saints were favored by 16.
Oh, it's 16. Okay.
Yeah,
I think
so
I think when we made the bets, it was 15.5.
Yeah,
but
it was
still,
like 15.5. Yeah.
Well, luckily, Melanie is not a Denver Broncos fan.
Yeah.
She's a Kansas City Chiefs fan. So we're
which
fine
is
like
funny
that.
because she lives in
Well, yeah,
Colorado.
but her family's Kansas City and
Right.
things like. If you moved away, you'd still be a Padres fan.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm still a Charger fan, I guess, too.
No, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, no, I am.
No,
Mark.
that doesn't make any sense. You on this show, you said you were done with them. You actually said you were done with them.
I've said that. I've said that probably 1,000 times over the years when I get pissed off at them. But deep down inside, there's a little glimmer of hope in there. Just somewhere like. I don't know. It's like buried behind my large intestine.
Yeah.
There's like a glimmer of hope.
I will be honest with you. When I watch Charger games now, sometimes I'm rooting for them, sometimes I'm rooting against them.
Right.
It's almost like it's
Well,
just
I'll
some
tell you
team
what.
I'm not familiar with.
We've made a fair amount of money this year betting against them.
That's true.
Yeah, they're losing games. They've lost by more than than points they're getting. So
What I like is they're still the same old Chargers losing on last
weird
plays of the
stuff.
game. Yeah, that's
weird
always
stuff.
nice. Yeah,
Weird stuff.
Yeah. All right, we got one more call from Keith.
Hey guys, it's Keith here again from New Hampshire. How are you guys? Loving the show. As always, wanted to do a trip report this time from the Twin River Casino down in Lincoln, Rhode Island. My daughter goes to college down in Rhode Island. I'm from New Hampshire and drove down there to go pick her up due to COVID and stopped by the casino. Plexiglass everywhere. Definitely a lot different, getting used to that, as my hand kept on hitting the glass as it was sticking out over the table. Definitely a lot different from some of the videos I've seen from Las Vegas. There was definitely a lot more plexiglass. Dealers were fun. Players were fun. Actually had some pretty decent rolls, even though my hand did keep hitting the glass. Bought in for 500, came out with about 600. So all in all, very good fun time. Good to play craps at least finally. And it was a $10 table, 5 times max odds. So loving the show. Continue to listen, and please keep the good craps content coming. Love the show. Take care, guys.
Yeah, I'm glad they don't have plexiglass at the craps tables at Harrah's Southern California. I'm glad we haven't had to do that because it sounds like it really is hitting your hand. You can't roll the same way. It's
Right. Yeah, it'd be kind of weird.
And it's hard it's hard enough to hear the dealers, each other with the masks on. Right. Yeah.
We're way too loud too for plexiglass. Can you imagine all the reverberation and stuff we get?
It would break. It would actually crack the plexiglass. It is
they
true.
can't have that with us.
Yeah, that's not good.
And put it over there on those face-up pie-gow tables.
Yeah, well, I mean, you don't touch the cards.
Yeah,
all you have to do is put the bet out and walk away.
Big dome around it. The cone of death.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. We want to thank some people for some PayPal donations. First of all, recurring donations from Josh and from James. Thank you very much. Also, a donation from Thomas. Made a bet for you guys against the Chargers a few weeks ago. And of course it won. Thanks for all you do. And he sent us those winnings. So thanks very much, Thomas. Hey, be sure to check out our TV listings showing all the gambling-related shows coming up within the next 2 weeks at youcanbetonthat.com/TV-listings and our list of gambling-related movies at youcanbetonthat.com/movies. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS.
Or you can email us at youcanbetonThat@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at YouCanBetOnThat and on Facebook at facebook.com/YouCanBetOnThat. Finally, please go to your favorite podcast app and write a review of the show. We love getting your feedback. What do you got, Dr. Mike?
Well, I'll tell you, Mark. So COVID has brought us a lot of interesting things, right?
Okay.
Just in our lives and, everything. So tonight, San Diego State played St. Catherine's.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know where that is.
Okay.
I assume somewhere here in San Diego, maybe. I don't know. I've never heard of it.
Uh-huh.
And they win by like 42 points.
Okay.
There was no line on the game.
Yeah,
no
yeah,
over-under,
right.
Nothing. I looking this up earlier. At one point, I looked and they were up by 50.
Uh-huh.
So, it's kind of like playing a high school team,
All
right?
right. Okay, sure.
And at St. Catherine's, I'm thinking it's an all-girls school. so I don't know why San Diego State men's basketball was playing them, but whatever. Anyway, it's just another COVID thing.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because they've never, that I know of, played them before. I don't even know.
Everybody's having to change their schedule. I mean,
Right,
usually
and
you just stay within your conference or,
Right,
things
or-
like that.
right,
But maybe,
or-
just the fact that they're close by.
It's probably because they're close by, because it gets you nothing in like rankings or
Right,
anything.
yeah,
It's
it's
like, oh,
pretty much
great,
ignored, yeah.
Yeah, it's just pretty much ignored. Anyway, like I was saying, I think on the last episode, their schedule is such so on December 31st, they play at UNLV and then again on January 2nd.
Mhm, yeah.
So all their games are back to back. Oh, I love that. They should institute that all the time.
Yeah.
For us watching on TV, it's like, okay, you got 2 more days and there's another game.
Yeah, you mentioned that on the last episode.
Yeah. So I do like that. So some things about COVID have happened that I actually like, sports related, right? It's just like for us with craps. We actually like that there's fewer people.
I love it.
You love it.
I just reclining and, spreading out on the table. I love it.
That there's so much room.
Yeah.
You don't have to sit side saddled because, you're trying to cram people on a table.
Yeah.
But then there's the bad parts. And so.
Oh, yeah, there are some bad parts too. I guess if I had to make a choice, I would have voted for no COVID.
You would have?
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah. If it had come to that, yeah.
Well, maybe I'll ask at the casino. I'll see what I can do about that.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Mark would like no COVID.
And the face of Pygo. Don't forget to mention that.
The face of Pygo.
Yeah.
There's 2 things he's really adamant about.
And I'm just silent. I'm just standing there, expressionless, right? Well,
I have to, as his advocate, I would like to. Can we have a formal tribunal here so we can get rid of COVID or something? I don't know. Anyway, it's going to go away soon, Mark.
I hope so.
I think so.
I want to get back to, big Gamble-palooza type events, right?
Yeah,
Where we can all get together again.
I think it's going away I'm going to give it like another 4 months plus or minus a year.
Okay, that's fair.
Right.
It's covering yourself.
I cover myself a little
Yeah,
bit
that's
there.
good.
What's the over-under? We should see. I bet you in England they've got an over-under for how long
Oh, I didn't
COVID
even think
lasts.
about that. I wonder if any legitimate, quote unquote,
Right.
books are, setting a line
My
for
wife asked me
over-under
the other
COVID.
day.
But what would it be? What's the cutoff point?
I don't
How would
know.
you gauge that? Oh, it's gone.
Yeah.
Pay whoever had the under because it was 2033 was
They'd
the
have to have somebody. They'd have to say, well, when blah, blah, blah says it's done, then it's done.
okay.
Right? Then you just buy him off. No, my wife asked me the other day, she said, yeah, so in England, do they bet a lot? And I'm like, are you kidding me? I mean, they'll bet on everything, right?
Well, it's much. Well, at least it has been much easier for them to bet too, right? It's changing a little bit here, but yes,
Right. But they bet on everything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they'll take bets on, the Academy Awards, stuff like
sure,
that.
sure.
And in America, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Anyway, just wanted to bring something bright about COVID. And I think it's this SDSU basketball schedule that does it for me.
Yeah, I think you hit the mark. Right?
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
I found a bright spot in an otherwise dismal sports life.
Thanks for listening.
Good night.
Oh, sweet mother, I love you, Dr. Mike.